So the grid for the X30 Mini final. Daniel Bolton on pole position has been very impressive today, as has Cian Shields, who will start second, just ahead of Lucas Ellingham. They have the same amount of points, but they'll start just ahead. Christian Brooks is P4. Row 3 will be Harvey Ribby and Finley Dunn. Ben Cochran will start in 7th, ahead of Bradley Beavers. Behind them, we'll see Lewis Hawley and Teddy Thomas on row 5. Row 6 will be Luke Weston and Callum Tanner as they just start to make their way out onto the track for their A final. Ellis Borchi is 13th, Jude Fennerhuff is 14th. Good effort considering that Jude didn't make the start of the first race from which Jude was meant to start on pole. Oliver Cottam will start in P15. 16th will be Drew Davidson, who didn't have the best of days in the heats. Jamie Perry will start 17th, William Cordell 18th. 19th will be AJ Arnold, ahead of Ben Jenkins in 20th. And I think that is the last of the drivers. So well done to Oliver Cottam, who's starts a few places up, but was the novice. Had to start last in every heat, but won't finish that way. So the number 43 is going to be on the front. That's Daniel Bolton, the number 43. And next to that, number 73, which is Cian Shields. So that's the front row as they make their way round the final corner. For the final rolling start of the day, one more race, but that'll be a standing start as they cross the line. And they all get away well. It's a good start. No contacts around the first two corners. I'm just looking out the window, coming up towards turn 3. And we'll see who's leading the race. And this is Daniel Bolton, I think ahead of Cian Shields, as they make their way round turn 3, 4, and now 5. Daniel Bolton is in front, and I think it's Cian Shields second, but I'm not quite sure who's in third at the moment. 4th and 5th pairs for number 82. So Christian Brooks is in P4, I think ahead of Harvey Ribby, who's P5. And that's a change for the lead. In fact, Lucas Ellingham's just gone up into the lead ahead of Daniel Bolton. I hadn't quite realised it was Lucas Ellingham who was starting in second place, but now it's Lucas Ellingham in first, ahead of Daniel Bolton. Cian Shields third, Christian Brooks, the championship leader, 4th. Finley Dunn is in P5 ahead of Ben Cochran, P6. Lewis Hawley in P7. Callum Tanner's 8th. Harvey Ribby 9th, and 10th is Teddy Thomas. So Daniel Bolton's fallen down to third now behind Cian Shields. So not the great start for the poleman, but great start for Lucas Ellingham up into the lead. Will Daniel Bolton try and make a move to try and regain one of these places? No, he doesn't. Just ahead of Christian Brooks in 4th in the fluorescent yellow-white livery. Race leader Lucas Ellingham comes up towards the start-finish line. And Cian Shields is in 2nd, Daniel Bolton 3rd, Christian Brooks 4th, Finley Dunn 5th. Louis Hawley's made his way past Ben Cochran on that lap. And the battle for the lead, and it looks like a change of positions. Lucas Ellingham was in 1st, he's now in 3rd. So the man in the lead's now Cian Shields ahead of Daniel Bolton. Lucas Ellingham drops to P3. 4th is still Christian Brooks. P5 is Finley Dunn. But they're all very close. Those top 5 separated by, I'd say, around about 7/10 of a second. They were a bit more, but after those changes, they've closed up again. But Cian Shields leads the way ahead of Daniel Bolton. Lucas Ellingham 3rd, Christian Brooks 4th. P5 is Finley Dunn. And it's a second between the top 6, in fact. So now, will we see some more changes of position? They are all very close. And Daniel Bolton's not going to look at making a move. They're going to stay as they were, the top 7 or 8 drivers. Ben Cochran's just ahead of Harvey Ribby at the back of that pack. And Callum Tanner's involved as well, actually. So it wasn't Harvey Ribby, it was Callum Tanner who was in P8 at the back of that group. So a second and a half or so separating 8 drivers, led by Cian Shields. And I'm sure all of them have the pace to go quicker than they currently are, but they're battling for position and not going at their absolute fastest. So Daniel Bolton's in second place, and he's had a bit of a good luck message come through. Not that one, he's had a couple of messages come through, in fact, so still in second place, I think, just behind Cian Shields. And there's a change there. I think Ben Cochrane's one of those drivers involved. Another one is Callum Tanner and Finley Dunn as well. So Finley Dunn's just lost a few places and is now down in 8th position, having been 5th earlier. But Cian Shields leads the way from Daniel Bolton, who's getting all the support on Facebook at the moment. There's also support from Abby Hoyle, who has messaged us to say, go win it. Lucas Van Sellingham, who's down in 3rd position, had been leading earlier. But will there be any changes in that front 3? And Daniel Bolton makes that move, goes up ahead of Cian Shields and makes the move stick. So he's now into the lead ahead of Cian Shields. Lucas Ellingham's 3rd, Christian Brooks is in P4. 5th position is now Louis Hawley. But I don't think that with 8.5 minutes to go, I don't think that's the end of things. There's definitely still going to be some more changes. Daniel Bolton leading from Cian Shields. 3rd is Lucas Ellingham. Further down, there's also some battles going on. But when the top 7 are separated by barely a second, it's difficult to look any further than that, I'm afraid. So Lucas Ellingham's very close on the back of Cian Shields. It looks to go up the inside, but Cian Shields is making the move himself and goes past Daniel Bolton, who's now dropped down into 3rd position behind Lucas Ellingham as well. So Ellingham and Cian Shields both making their way past Daniel Bolton into the lead. Christian Brooks not able to go with them and stays in 4th position, which is where he's been for much of this race. And Louis Hawley stays in P5 ahead of Ben Cochrane. And now there's more changes. Lucas Ellingham's gone into the lead ahead of Cian Shields, so that's a great move by Lucas. I think go win it, Lucas, was the message from Abby a few minutes ago. And Lucas definitely doing his best to take this win, building a gap a bit to the guys behind. And Daniel Bolton's making a move now up the inside and has gone past Cian Shields, so it's changing lap by lap, and Louis Hawley's also looking close. Doesn't quite manage to make his way past Christian Brooks, and in fact loses out to Ben Cochrane and Callum Tanner. And that seems to be the way it is. Every time you try and make a move, you either lose one or gain one. In that case, I think Louis Hawley lost 2 or 3. Sad to be said. But these positions are changing every lap. Lucas Ellingham is currently the leader across the line. So let's see what those positions are now. So Daniel Bolton 2nd ahead of Cian Shields. Christian Brooks 4th. Ben Cochrane is in P5. And we are starting to see some gaps building between them, so no one close enough to make a move going into turn 3 on lap 8. But there's still 6.5 minutes to go. Plenty of action still to be seen. Plenty of overtaking moves to be made. Christian Brooks just ahead of Ben Cochrane. No one taking any positions at the moment. Lucas Ellingham still leads the way from Daniel Bolton. But those two are certainly looking a bit closer than they were a minute ago. So let's see, they come around the final corner. Lucas Ellingham had a 4/10 of a second lead. It's now down to a 1/10 as Daniel Bolton set a fastest lap of the race. That was quickly beaten by Callum Tanner. But everybody, bar Lucas Ellingham, just set a personal best. And there goes Daniel Bolton to take the lead of the race from Lucas Ellingham. So Daniel Bolton back up into the lead. Lucas Ellingham 2nd, Cian Shields is in P3 still. Christian Brooks is in 4th. And let's take another look at that move. So doesn't really defend the inside, does Lucas Ellingham? And it's an opportunity too good for Daniel Bolton to miss in turn 3. So we're now coming up to the end of lap 9. And once again, we're saying as they cross the line, there's a change for the lead. So it's Daniel Bolton now there. And the top 7 drivers separated by barely a second and a half. Is Lucas Ellingham going to have a go here? I think he is. Takes position 1 back. And as I said, it's changing every lap. So now Lucas Ellingham is into the lead ahead of Daniel Bolton. Cian Shields 3rd. Christian Brooks, amongst all the changes elsewhere, is just sitting in P4. Ben Cochrane's in 5th ahead of Callum Tanner. And then at the back of the group, losing a little bit of ground is Louis Hawley, about half a second off the other drivers. So Lucas Ellingham's back into the lead. And there we go, that's the first move Christian Brooks has made, and he's now up into 3rd ahead of Cian Shields. And it's a case of waiting for the right time for Christian Brooks, who's up into 3rd ahead of Cian Shields. Ben Cochrane's 5th. And now it's just a second separating the top 6 drivers at the moment. Harvey Ribby is in 9th behind Drew Davidson. And behind that, William Cordell is in 10th. 11th is Teddy Thomas. Billy Dunn, who had been in the top group, is now down a bit further in 12th position. But leading the way still is, at the moment, Lucas Ellingham just ahead of Daniel Bolton. Christian Brooks is in 3rd, having made that move to get past Cian Shields on the previous lap. Christian Brooks does run wide, and I think they've just lost that place to Cian Shields back up into 3rd. Indeed, on the timing screens, it is showing that Daniel Bolton is a position down at the moment. And Christian Brooks has lost another place to Ben Cochrane. So having been 3rd a minute ago, Christian Brooks is now down in P5 with Callum Tanner right on his tail. And then behind them, Louis Hawley, who is just kind of sitting there waiting to see Horsley, seeing if there are any mistakes ahead. Battle at the front is now down to 2 really. And it's Daniel Bolton trying to put pressure on Lucas Ellingham. But Lucas Ellingham just about staying ahead as they go around turn 1 and turn 2 now, the right-hander. And it looks like Daniel Bolton has just, I thought he might be able to make a move, but isn't. But is right on the tail of Lucas Ellingham with 2.5 minutes to go in the race. All the action happening so fast. I'm just having to take a few little breaks to get a drink of water. My throat is starting to really feel the effects of this long day of racing, which has been fantastic here at Wilton Mill. But we're in the penultimate race now, the X30 Mini, and it's Lucas Ellingham leading from Daniel Bolton. Those two now a second clear of anyone else. And again, Daniel Bolton sets a personal best, as did Lucas Ellingham. They both set personal bests. The gaps come down a little bit, and Daniel Bolton deciding not to make the move. There's 1 minute and 50 seconds plus a lap. So we'll see just how long until he decides to go for it. Christian Brooks still in 5th place behind. It's Cian Shields in 3rd, Ben Cochrane 4th, and Christian Brooks in P5. But the front two still going at it. Lucas Ellingham, will he be able to hold on to this lead? By my reckoning, there's going to be, when they cross the line, another 4 laps, I think. And Daniel Bolton getting very, very close. Will we now see a move? We do. Daniel Bolton going up the inside of Lucas Ellingham into turn 3, makes the move stick, and Daniel Bolton back into the lead as we enter just a minute to go of this race, the X30 Mini, which is the penultimate race of the day. Afterwards, we'll have the Honda Cadets and then the trophy presentation. But at the moment, Daniel Bolton leading this race from Lucas Ellingham. It's been changing several times. Lucas Ellingham had held the lead for the last few laps, but Daniel Bolton wasn't letting him have it. And they'll come up towards the line for what is the penultimate lap of the race. And Daniel Bolton leads the way. Can Lucas Ellingham find anything? Well, they're trying to go up the inside, but Daniel Bolton defending, well, a little bit harsh, but no contact between the two of them. So Daniel Bolton staying ahead of Lucas Ellingham. There are a few more opportunities, but will be another lap. Christian Brooks behind, looking like he was going to have a move on Ben Cochran, but I don't think he did. So Daniel Bolton leads the way. A few tenths of a second ahead of Lucas Ellingham. They're onto the back straight and round the final section, the boot, as they call it. And then onto pit bend, and as they come up towards the line, you'll see the final lap board. So the last lap for these two drivers, it's now or never for Lucas Ellingham. Will he make a move? Will he see if he can do it? It looks like he's got good traction. No one behind, so will Lucas Ellingham make a move? He goes up the inside, but Daniel Bolton cleverly just squeezes him and forces him to stay behind. And Daniel Bolton still leading it. And there's been a collision involving a couple of drivers further down. That's Finley Dunn. And number 55, I can't quite make out, 55 was Jamie Perry. So those two are off near to the last corner. And Daniel Bolton leads the way as they go up towards the last few corners. Lucas Ellingham has a look but decides against it as they go around the boot. There's a yellow flag out because of that crash. And as they go around the final corner, Daniel Bolton will take the win ahead of Lucas Ellingham. Cian Shields will come home third ahead of Christian Brooks. Ben Cochran ended up in P6 behind Callum Tanner, so he did lose that place to Christian Brooks and then Callum Tanner. Seventh was Louis Horsley, who's kind of sat there, waited to see if anything would happen ahead. Nothing did. Drew Davidson finished in 8th ahead of Harvey Ribby in 9th. William Cordell 10th. Teddy Thomas 11th. Ellis Bouchier was 12th ahead of Luke Weston in P13. And it's very sad for Finley Dunn. P13 was Luke Weston. 14th was Bradley Beavers. P15 was AJ Arnold. Jude Fernhoff was 16th. 17th, just coming over the line now, was Oliver Cottam. And then the last two, Jamie Perry, who crosses the line now, and Finley Dunn, who didn't reach the end of the race. But well done to Daniel Bolton. It was a brilliant race involving the front three for much of it. Cian Shields just dropped back in the end. But well done to Daniel Bolton, Lucas Ellingham and Cian Shields for providing us with great racing and for doing really well this weekend here at Wilson.